folks, this is Al with the BaumBuilds.com build tip. You know, one of the biggest challenges that amateur fabricators face today is the proper location and positioning of parts prior to welding. If you're lucky enough to be doing your own designs, you can incorporate features to assist with this and make your build faster and easier. I call it self-fixturing design, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. So let's get started. Let's say by comparison we want to use a conventional method for locating and welding, let's say this rib onto this plate. Traditionally, we would reference our drawing and measure out here a certain distance, let's say in this case 11 inches, to locate this rib. And then we want to reference off some other point to get a reference in the other direction. And if we're really diligent, we're going to want to take this square and we're going to want to scribe a line here where that rib is going to be. And then we're going to take this rib and we're going to line it up like this, referencing both lines to get it in position, and then put our magnets in place. And then of course maybe jockey the magnets around a little bit to get the right position in space. And then we're ready to weld. By comparison, if we use self-fixturing design and we want to put this same rib out in space, what I can do back at the design phase utilizing my CAD system is I can locate slots right in this plate that will later be laser cut or plasma cut with a CNC cutter and will be 100% accurate. And by doing this, I know that if I put these tabs in this slot, this rib is located exactly where I want it. Another feature of the tab and slot design is that you can vary the spacing on the slots to avoid welding components in the wrong spot. Take, for example, by varying the width of these tabs and slots, note that this rib will not fit at this location. So it guarantees that I'll put the right rib at the right location. So now using the tab and slot, I'm located in all three dimensions, and I can simply come in here with my weld angles, my magnetic angles, and I'm perfectly aligned and ready to weld. Let's take a look at tab and slot geometry. In this case, we're using 1/8 inch thick plate, so I like to make the length of my tab about 1/8 of an inch. If you make it longer than that, it will stick out through the back side of this plate, which in some cases is okay. Other times when you have other components that need mounted back there, it's not okay. So you either shorten it up or grind it off. Now, looking at the slot width, what I like to do is make it about 15 thousandths thicker than the material thickness itself. If you're using a laser cut part, you can get away with tighter tolerances. If you know that your parts are going to be plasma cut, you might want to loosen them up a little bit. As far as tab length goes, I like to keep the overall length of the slot about 1/8 inch longer than the tab itself, or 1/16 per side. Again, if you're going with laser and you feel you want a little bit tighter engagement, you can tighten up those dimensions a little bit. But if you have a plasma cutter, you got to watch out because you can get burrs and small radiuses in there from the accuracy of the cut. If you have small radiuses in there, you're going to want to grind them out because you want this surface to mate with this surface fully so there's no gaps underneath. And there's your self-fixturing geometry. Let's take a look at this part that was designed using tab and slot construction. You can see in this case the 3 tabs that protrude through the slots in this plate. This would align this rib perfectly in 3D space on the back side, as you can see. I also use tab and slot construction to align and install these brake brackets using the tab and slots as you see here. I also use this same technique to put a slot in this plate and a notch in this rib to install those bearing mounting angles that you see. This is a weldment that will be used on the Baum bicycle. In this case, I want to mate this tube with this plate at precisely the right location such that the tube goes out at the right angle and ends up at the right point in space. Taking advantage of my 3D CAD system, I simply put an angle-shaped slot in this plate where the edge of the tube should align. And then I take standard angle iron, as shown here, and insert it into the slot, engaging both top and bottom plates. And then I pull my plate into position with the tube, and I end up with a perfectly fixtured frame. Here's one last example of self-fixturing design. In this case, I want this tube to intersect this plate at a particular location. Instead of measuring in every direction using conventional methods, I can again use my 3D CAD system to locate these slots. And without the use of tabs, I simply cover the slots with the tube in every direction. And just that quickly, I know I'm perfectly aligned and ready to weld. Well, folks, that's it for today's tip. Keep checking back to BaumBuilds.com for more tips. And whatever you're working on, have fun with your build.